You know, that exact feeling of the 2 a.m. headspace.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone listening knows exactly what you mean.
Right. It's like you're just lying there staring up at the ceiling. The whole house is just completely quiet.
Yeah, it's silent.
Exactly. The physical world has essentially shut down for the night, but inside, your mind is just roaring.
It's deafening, honestly.
It really is.
Yeah.
And there's this incredibly specific, acute kind of loneliness to it, you know?
Yeah, being wide awake with a racing mind while literally the entire rest of the world is just peacefully sleeping.
Yes. You feel like you're the only person left on Earth, just trapped in this echo chamber of your own thoughts.
Analyzing like a passing comment from 3 days ago.
Or projecting some massive catastrophe 3 years into the future. It's exhausting.
It's a profound isolation. And what
Yeah.
makes it so jarring is that you don't have any of the usual distractions.
Right, no external stimuli.
Exactly. You're just left alone with the raw materials of your own internal life.
And that internal reality is exactly what we are unpacking in this deep dive today.
I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too, because we're pulling from some really powerful sources today. We're looking at psychological frameworks, sociological research on emotional labor, and some really deep writing on anxiety and overthinking.
It's a heavy stack of material, but it's so vital.
It is. Our mission today is to look at these silent battles we fight, the emotional exhaustion, the struggle for self-worth, and, ultimately what the journey toward actual healing and peace looks like.
And I think we really need to set the tone for this right up front.
Yeah, please do.
Because, yes, we have all this research in front of us, but this deep dive isn't a space for clinical advice. We aren't going to just throw medical jargon at you.
Right. Nobody wants to feel like a patient right now.
Exactly. This is a space for emotional truth. Think of this as, well, like a late-night comfort conversation.
I love that, a shared quiet space.
Right. If you're listening right now, we want you to feel understood without having to explain yourself. You don't have to perform for us.
Which is such a relief. You can just...
Exactly. You can just be here with us as we go through this.
So let's start with this concept from the sources that really stood out to me. They call it the anatomy of a silent battle.
The invisible war.
Yes, the invisible war. The literature really highlights this massive, almost absurd contrast between how we look on the outside versus what's happening on the inside.
Oh, the disconnect is huge.
Right. On the outside, you're functioning. You're smiling at work. You're answering emails. You're, I don't know, picking up groceries.
We're making polite small talk with the cashier.
Exactly. But on the inside, there's this chaotic storm just tearing through you.
It takes a monumental amount of effort to maintain that facade.
It really does. I was trying to think of a way to describe it, and it feels like walking around wearing a heavy, soaking wet wool coat.
Oh, wow. That is a visceral image.
Right. Because a wet wool coat is incredibly heavy.
No.
And it's cold, and it drags you down. But the trick is, no one else can see that you're wearing it.
So they just expect you to keep up.
Exactly. Everyone expects you to move at a completely normal pace. But every single step you take takes monumental, unseen effort.
And that unseen aspect is exactly why these silent battles are so insidious.
Because no one knows you're struggling?
Partially, yes. But it's not just the anxiety itself that hurts. It's the isolation of keeping it hidden.
The secret itself becomes the burden.
Right. The sources explain that pretending everything is fine actually amplifies the internal panic. You're constantly terrified the mask is going to slip.
Which makes me wonder, why do we do it? I want to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Why are we so universally determined to keep it silent? I mean, is it just pride?
That's a really common assumption, that it's just ego.
Right, like we don't want people to see we're weak. Or is it a survival mechanism?
The research points heavily to the latter. It's deeply tied to our sense of safety.
How so? Like social safety?
Yes. We mistakenly believe that if we reveal our internal chaos, we will automatically become a burden to others.
Ah, the fear of being too much.
Exactly. We think if I show them I'm struggling, they won't want to deal with me. So when someone asks, "How are you?" what do you usually say?
I always just say, oh, I'm fine. Everything's good.
Right. You say, "I'm fine," even when you are anything but fine.
Even when the wet wool coat is literally dragging me to the floor.
Because your brain is telling you that hiding the struggle is the only way to stay safe in the group.
Wow. That makes so much sense, but it is incredibly exhausting.
Which brings us perfectly to the next piece of this. What happens when the day ends?
Right, because you can't keep that up forever. Let's talk about overthinking and that 2 a.m. headspace we mentioned earlier.
The transition from the day to the night.
Yeah. During the day, the battle is mostly about hiding it. But at night, the overthinking just gets so incredibly loud.
It's a very specific texture of thinking, too.
It really is. It's not just normal thinking. Normal thinking is like, oh, I need to buy milk tomorrow.
Right, that's functional. That's planning.
But overthinking is this relentless looping. It's just playing past regrets over and over.
And future dreads.
Yes. And my favorite, imagining entire conversations that haven't even happened yet.
Oh, the imaginary arguments in the shower or in bed, we all do that.
There was this really short, poetic observation in one of the sources that just completely stopped me in my tracks.
What was it?
It said, overthinking is the art of creating problems that weren't even there, just to prepare yourself for a disaster that will never happen.
Wow. That is painfully accurate.
Yeah, right? Creating problems just to prepare for a fake disaster.
It perfectly describes the illusion of control.
Explain that a bit more. What do you mean by illusion of control?
Well, the sources break this down. Overthinking is often a misguided attempt to keep ourselves safe.
Okay. Like our brain is trying to protect us.
Exactly. Your brain thinks that if it can just analyze every single possible negative outcome, it won't be caught off guard.
It's trying to predict the future to avoid getting hurt.
Right. It's a defense mechanism. But it's an illusion, because you can't actually control the future by worrying about it.
I have to interject here, though. If it's a defense mechanism, if my brain is just trying to protect me, why does it feel so much like self-sabotage?
That's the paradox, isn't it?
It really is. It
Yeah.
feels like it's like having 100 browser tabs open in your brain at the exact same time.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Right, and they're all loading simultaneously, and
Kinda.
audio is playing from one of them.
But you can't figure out which one is making the noise.
Exactly. You're frantically clicking around, but you can't find the audio, and you can't close any of the tabs. The
Yeah.
system is just totally overwhelmed.
That's a brilliant analogy.
Right?
And the reason it feels like self-sabotage is because it drains all your resources without actually solving anything.
So the protection mechanism is actually hurting me more than the imaginary threat.
Yes. And if you're listening to this, I really want you to notice where your mind goes when it wanders in the dark.
That's a really powerful exercise, just
Yeah.
noticing the pattern.
Right. Realizing that overthinking is a false friend is the very first step toward disarming it.
Because it's not actually helping you prepare for anything. It's just draining your battery.
Exactly.
Mm.
Which naturally leads us to the morning after.
The hangover of anxiety.
Yes, the profound weight of emotional exhaustion.
This part of the research was so validating to read because we connect that 2 a.m. overthinking directly to how you feel the next day.
That bone-deep tiredness.
Right. And it's not a physical tiredness. It's not like you were out digging ditches all night.
But your body feels like you were.
Exactly. It's an exhaustion that comes not from physical labor, but from simply surviving your own thoughts.
And we really need to validate how much energy it actually takes to manage anxiety.
It's an active calorie burn, essentially.
It is. Emotional exhaustion is your body's natural response to carrying an unnatural amount of mental tension.
Unnatural tension. I like that phrasing.
Because your nervous system is essentially running a marathon while your body is sitting still. It's a sign that you have been strong for way too long.
It's not a sign of weakness at all.
No, absolutely not. It's a sign of prolonged endurance.
You know, there's this scenario that I think is just so universally relatable for anyone dealing with this.
Let's hear it.
It's the driveway moment. Have you ever done this? Where you pull into your driveway or you park outside your apartment.
Oh, yeah. And you turn off the engine.
Turn off the car and you just sit there for like 20 solid minutes.
Just staring into space.
Literally just staring at the dashboard. Not looking at your phone, not listening to music. Just existing in this weird liminal space.
Because you're trying to gather the energy to put the mask back on.
Exactly. You're trying to find the strength to walk inside and be, a normal roommate or a parent or a partner.
It takes so much energy to transition back into those roles when you're emotionally depleted.
But that brings up a really difficult question. When you are physically tired, you just go to sleep, right?
Right. Your muscles repair themselves.
But what do you do when your soul is tired? I mean, how do you actually rest when your mind is the very thing making you exhausted?
That is the core struggle. Because emotional exhaustion requires a completely different kind of rest.
So a nap isn't going to fix it.
A nap might help your body, but it won't fix the emotional burnout. What you actually need is permission to drop the mask.
To take off the wet wool coat.
Exactly. You have to stop performing normalcy.
That's really hard to do, though.
It is. But you have to allow yourself to simply exist without the pressure of being productive or entertaining or even acting like you're okay.
Just giving yourself permission to not be okay for a minute.
Yes. Because if you don't, that exhaustion starts to bleed into how you view yourself.
Which bridges us directly into the most dangerous aspect of all this, the struggle for self-worth.
This is where anxiety does its worst damage.
It really is. The sources talk about the lie that anxiety tells us. It essentially attacks our core value.
It convinces you that you are the problem.
Right. It tries to convince us that we are just the sum of our mistakes.
Or our awkward moment.
Yes, or all the tasks we haven't completed yet. It says you didn't finish your to-do list, therefore you are a failure.
It connects overthinking to a completely distorted sense of value.
Why does it do that? Why does exhaustion make us turn on ourselves?
Because when we are emotionally exhausted, our defenses are down. And that is when our inner critic grabs the microphone.
And that inner critic is mean.
Extremely mean. That's why it is so important to separate who you are from what you are feeling.
Okay, separate identity from feeling.
Exactly. Anxiety is an experience you are having. It is a biological event happening in your body. It is not an identity you embody.
I was trying to visualize this, and it feels like trying to measure the size of a room using a funhouse mirror.
Oh, that's a brilliant way to look at it.
Right. Like if you look into a funhouse mirror, the room looks completely twisted and terrible.
But the room itself hasn't changed.
Exactly. The tool you are using to measure reality is distorted, so the conclusion you draw is always going to be warped.
That is exactly what happens when you measure your self-worth while you are actively anxious.
You're using the funhouse mirror.
Yes. And I really want to gently challenge the listener on this point.
Please do.
Think about how you speak to yourself during these silent battles. When you're awake at 2 a.m., what is the tone of your internal voice?
It's usually pretty harsh.
It usually is. But ask yourself, would you ever, under any circumstances, speak to a friend the way your anxiety speaks to you?
Oh, God. Never. I would be a monster if I talked to a friend like that.
Right. If a friend called you at 2 a.m. and said they felt overwhelmed, you wouldn't tell them they're a failure.
No, I'd tell them it's going to be okay, that they're just tired.
Exactly. You would offer them grace. So why do we deny ourselves that exact same grace?
Because we believe the funhouse mirror when it's our own reflection.
We do. And recognizing that distortion is really the key to the final theme we need to discuss today.
Yes, the journey toward healing and finding peace.
Which is such a big topic.
It is, and I think we need to redefine what healing actually means in this context.
Because it's not what most people think it is.
Right. When we talk about these raw, emotional, silent battles, healing is not some magical finish line.
It's not a sudden cure where you wake up and never feel anxious again.
Exactly. It's not like getting over a cold. The anxiety doesn't just permanently pack its bags and leave.
The sources reframe healing as something much quieter. They call it a quiet surrender.
A surrender.
Yeah.
That sounds almost like giving up.
I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's not giving up. It is learning to sit with the anxiety without fighting it.
Because fighting it is what exhausts us.
Exactly. It's letting the anxiety be in the car, but not letting it take the steering wheel.
Oh, I like that. It's a passenger, not the driver.
Right. Because peace isn't the absence of noise.
Then what is it?
It's finding a quiet center right in the middle of the storm. It's stability, not silence.
That makes me wonder, though, is peace something we just find, like we just stumble upon it one day, or is it something we have to actively create?
It is absolutely something we have to create.
By letting go of the need to control everything.
Yes. The research confirms it's the latter. You have to create it. Finding peace is recognizing your inherent self-worth despite the silent battles.
It's choosing to believe your worth hasn't changed.
Right. And it's also a profound realization about your own track record.
What do you mean by track record?
Think about it. You have survived every single bad day you've ever had.
That's true.
You have survived every single anxious night, every silent battle, and every single overthinking spiral you've ever experienced.
Your success rate is literally 100%.
Exactly. You are still here. You are stronger than the narrative your anxiety is trying to sell you.
That is a really grounding thought. Your track record of surviving is 100%.
It's undeniable proof of your resilience.
As we start to wrap up this deep dive, I want to slow down the pacing for a second.
Yeah, let's just take a breath.
because we've covered a lot of heavy emotional ground today. And if you're listening to this right now, I just want to create a deliberate, shared moment of calm with you.
Wherever you are right now.
Right, whether you're in the
Right.
car or walking or lying in bed at 2 a.m., just take a really deep breath with us right now.
Just let the shoulders drop.
Let it out. We just want to validate everything you have been carrying.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And you have been doing an incredible job carrying it.
You really have. But I also want to remind you that right now, in this exact moment, you are safe.
The battle can be paused.
Yes. You
Yeah.
don't have to figure everything out right this second. The wet wool coat can come off for a little while.
And before we go, I want to leave you with something to really mull over.
Let's hear it.
What if the anxiety you feel isn't actually your enemy?
Hmm.
What if it is just a very confused part of you that is desperately trying to keep you safe?
Just a misguided protector.
Exactly. So what happens when you stop fighting it
Hmm.
and start offering it grace instead?
That completely changes the relationship you have with your own mind. It really does.
It shifts everything from war to compassion.
Well, as we close out, I just want to say this. Healing doesn't mean the darkness never comes back. It just means the next time you find yourself awake at 2 a.m., you'll know exactly how to turn on the light. Rest easy. We'll be right here next time.